solo shot of the night. A 2-run blast with 2 out of the 10th.
Hi again, it's Corey with DNC Ball Cards, back today to bust open another box of junk wax era baseball cards. Today we have something a little different, something I've never opened before, which is a vending box of 1988 Topps baseball cards. I honestly had never heard of vending boxes until I found these online and did a little bit of research. We'll talk about the vending boxes along with 88 Topps. The 88 Topps set is a 792 card set. Key rookies include Ken Caminiti, Ellis Burks, Matt Williams, and Tom Glavine. Glavine obviously being a Hall of Famer. There's also a Billy Beane rookie for what that's worth. Subsets include record breakers, managers, checklists, all-stars, team leaders, and the turn back the clock cards, which I kind of think are pretty cool. Now onto the vending box itself. The vending boxes were a method of packaging used primarily by Topps, originally produced to stock trading card vending machines. Topps made the vending boxes as early as the 1950s, but while trading card vending machines were not very relevant, by the 70s, Topps kept making the boxes up until really the mid-90s. They became a popular way for dealers to put together sets because you could probably get a set out of maybe 2 boxes, and a way for collectors to get a lot of cards for relatively little money. You could almost think of them as a 500 card pack, and there are 500 cards in this small box. A typical vending box contains 500 randomly collated cards, and a vending case has 24 boxes, which would be a total of 12,000 cards. Since the cards were cut directly from the sheet and packed into the box, none of the cards would have any wax or gum stains, making the odds of finding a Gem Mint card a little better. Because of the random collation, it's possible for multiple copies of the same card to appear in the same vending box, similar to packs, obviously. Collectors should be advised that while the cases were factory sealed, the individual boxes were not. You can see that this box is definitely not sealed, which would make them easy to search. But fortunately, there is a telltale way to tell if it's been searched. An unsearched box will have a ribbed pattern, basically a series of alternating color changes, light, dark, and along with it, it should have some cardboard shavings visible on the top as well. I have actually peeked inside this box, and it does look legit. I don't think it's been searched, but we'll go ahead and start going through this box here. I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. I do see some shavings. I'm not sure if you guys can see those shavings there, but there are cardboard shavings, and I do see the ribbed pattern that it's talking about. You can kind of just see a very clear pattern there that I think if the cards were searched, you clearly just would not see this type of pattern. You probably have seen cards in a box. They don't look as they don't look like this. So this should be interesting. I'm not exactly sure how to attack this. I guess I'll just try to pull out some cards here from the front. It is packed pretty tightly, so I may just pick out a few cards from the middle here. Try not to damage them, and we'll go from there. So you don't quite have the joy of opening a pack, but we do have a total of 500 cards here to go through, and so we'll start doing that. Red Sox leaders, which includes Wade Boggs there at third base, Kurt Stillwell, Ken Gerhardt, Jim Gantner. Cardinals leaders, Steve Lombardarzi. And if you look at these cards, they look, sharp corners. I don't see any damage to the cards. The backs of 88 Topps has that very distinct, actually that card, you can tell that corner does have a slight ding to it. I'm not sure if it's just that card. Maybe the box has that, but you can see the backs do have this distinct orange cardstock and typical Topps fashion. Drew Hall. Let's see if I can tell on the backs. Yeah, it looks like that may be a problem with the corner. Maybe that's just a section. We'll see. Steve Lyons, Tom Hinkie, Richard Dotson, Rangers leaders. That's Pete Incaviglia, I think. Blue Jays leaders. Bob McClure. Dave Smith. Now you can see this 88 Topps card for me is a very rather bland card, but I've actually come to appreciate it a little more. I remember as a kid, this just kind of seemed to be a boring card, and that card's got a little, you can see the corner there, it does have a little damage. Yeah, some of these cards do have a little corner damage. They're just a little plain. There's an Andre Dawson card. That's my favorite player of all time, so that's a good card. Bob Tewksbury, John McNamara, Eric Davis, Ken Oberkfell, Mark Williamson, and you can see I think they've been experimenting with this. Certain card sets, there's a little bit of a three-dimensional effect, if you will, or at least it's creating depth. As you see that his head is above the Orioles artistic logo there, so creating a little bit of a three-dimensional perspective. Athletics leaders, there is a Jose and Mark. Doug Drabeck. There is a Wade Boggs card, base card. And yeah, you can see that these corners, unfortunately, this box somewhere along the way probably got dinged because they're that corner, upper left-hand corner on most of these cards so far have a slight ding. Jose Canseco, so that's a cool card. Tony Armas, Kevin Elster, Future Stars. They brought back the Future Stars I don't know if they brought it back. I can't remember it, but this was in the '87 Topps set as well. Most famously, the Bo Jackson card had the Future Star designation. Here is one of those turn back the clock cards with Hall of Famer Jim Rice. I'm not sure, that's a 1978 Topps card. So Ted Power. And here is the very distinctive All-Star card for 1988 Topps. Very yellow, somewhat reminiscent for me, of the 1963 Topps, the rookie cards. Although the rookie cards, if you've ever seen the Pete Rose rookie or Willie Stargell rookie, it's really just their head, but it is on a yellow background. Very distinct All-Star card. Dave Martinez, Eddie Whitson, Mark Williamson, Rene Gonzalez, Rick Mahler. Alright, so that's the first duplicate that I remember, so not very far into this box, and we've got a duplicate, not a bad duplicate to have. There's a Schmidt card, Michael Jack Schmidt. I have always enjoyed the backs of the Topps cards regarding the statistics that they show. You can see he's eclipsed the 500 home run mark at this point. So that's cool. There's another Wade Boggs card. Phil Garner, Guy Hoffman. There is another Jose Canseco card. Another duplicate there, not a bad one. Tony Armas, Steve Buechele, Ken Howell, Jerry Reed, Rocky Childress, Lance McCullers, and Dennis Powell. And like I said, I've come to appreciate these cards a little better. I do think coming off of the 1987 Topps, which I think was just a pure home run in terms of design, with that classic wood border, that you know, that would have been this would have been a hard set to live up to the 87 standards, but and I do think I like 89 Topps better than this as well, so I do think I'd rank these last in terms of 87, 88, and 90, 89. Alan Trammell, All-Star card. Mark Langston, Rick Rodriguez, Greg Brock, Brian Fisher. I did find this box online. I got it shipped and all for just shy of $10. I think it was $9.50 or so, which, you know, for shipping to be included, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. These cards really don't have much value. There's an 88 Will Clark card. I've got this card. I remember seeing this card. So it's a Will Clark card. Don Oss, Eddie Williams, Bob Melvin, Shane Raleigh. Yeah, these cards are certainly, there's a Ricky Henderson, not for investment. This is one of those boxes that you'd only be purchasing for the nostalgia of opening a box of 1988 cards. Maybe this is in the heart of your childhood like it is for me, and so that's really the reason I'm opening this. Obviously wouldn't mind to get some Hall of Famers here. Would like to get, speaking of Hall of Famers, there's a Lee Smith, but Tom Glavine, obviously the Hall of Fame rookie card that's included in this set. Nolan Ryan, Cal Ripken are a couple cards that almost regardless of the junk wax year, they're still a little desirable. Maybe they'll hold a value of $1 or so. Brett Saberhagen, Dave Anderson, Glenn Wilson, Bill Long, and Kirk McCaskill. If you haven't subscribed to us, please subscribe. Dustin is continuing to open up some modern product. Recently got a 1-of-1 card with the recent Bowman Chrome, I believe. I'm still working through the junk wax era boxes, and you can also visit us on Twitter. Our handle is at DC Ball Cards here. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on 1988 Topps or anything else. A checklist card, Mike Pagliarulo, Chuck Jackson, Jeff Hamilton, Jimmy Williams, Willie McGee, Doyle Alexander, the goofball Roger McDowell, Jose Rijo here with the A's, Kevin McReynolds, there's Dave Stewart, Cards a little sticky. There's something a little sticky on there. It's not wax, but something was sticky. Making those cards stick together. Jesse Orozco. See if these cards are any better as I'm getting into the other parts of it. No, there's still a ding on that upper left-hand corner, but again, this, you know, in reality, it doesn't matter whether these cards are in gem mint condition or not. They just don't hold too much value. Joe Price. Like he's taking a punch to the face there by a ghost or something. That's cool. There's Oil Can Boyd. Dennis Martinez. Jimmy Jones. Bruce Bochy, future manager of the Diamondbacks, I believe. Al Newman. Okay, there's another Mike Schmidt, approaching the twilight of his career here. Bill Gullickson, Keith Hernandez. Got the first baseman's mitt down, ready to catch a grounder. Ray Searage, Terry Poole, Daryl Miller. Bryn, I'm not sure if that's pronounced Bryn or Brian. I'm getting some of his cards in all of these junk wax boxes. Looks like Bryn, but it could be Brian. Joel Davis, Joe Sambito, Mike Mason, Dave Schmidt, John Cangelosi probably. There's Jim Rice, Hall of Famer. We saw a turn back the clock earlier with Jim Rice. Tom Trebelhorn, manager. Doug Sisk, and Steve Lake. The 89 Topps design, kind of similar as far as the edges, but it has the the very baseball fontish, kind of like the Dodgers font with the name and the team name. There's kind of a printing error or something on this card. You can see that there. There's Harold Reynolds, Steve Crawford, Mark Grant. But I just think the 87 Topps is just a classic card. 86 Topps is, I like that design too. It's pretty cool. I imagine it's harder to find gem mint cards in that 86 Topps because of the dark border, the black border. Tim Hewlett. Here's Alan Trammell base card, Hall of Famer. Herm Willingham. Paul O'Neill with the Reds. Rob Murphy, Jeff Reardon, Tim Burke, Felix Fermin, Jody Reed, Steve Ontiveros. There's Cal Ripken Sr., the manager card. I don't think they really do manager cards anymore to my knowledge. I haven't opened many or new packs. I've watched Dustin open some of the more modern things, and I think this may be a thing of the past as far as creating manager cards, but there is a Cal Senior card. Nick Isaski. There's Lenny Dykstra with the Mets before he moved on to the Phillies. There's a Kansas City Royals Leaders card with George Brett Saberhagen. Sal Butera. There's a Kirby Puckett card. And I think our corner issue has disappeared. And that corner may have, but I think maybe it was just that middle part of the box. There's Kirby Puckett. Rob Deere. There is Cubs Leaders. Gosh, I don't know who that might be. Is that Sean Dunston? And I don't know. I don't know if it'll tell us who that is. don't think that's Andre Dawson. It doesn't look like Andre Dawson. I don't think so. I don't know who that is. Bill Wilkinson, Eric Plunk, Luis Quinones. There's a Barry Bonds card. Obviously still with the Pirates through, I think, 91 or 92 at least. A young, thinner Barry Bonds. Pre-PED Barry Bonds, Joe McGrain. Phillies leaders. Donnell Nixon. I wonder if he's any relation to Otis Nixon. I don't know. There's a Cal Ripken, and I remember this card rather distinctly from my collection as well. Ding in the corner's back, but we've got some back-to-back Hall of Famers here. Cal Ripken and Robin Yount. Barry Jones, Bob Nepper, Don Sutton, another Hall of Famer. Got that curly hair sticking out. Rather, he's definitely getting to the twilight of his career there. Danny Darwin, Steve Sachs, Wallace Johnson, Bruce Sutter. He's a Hall of Famer as well. Relief pitcher. Eric Nolte, Craig Lefferts, Mike Smithson, Jim Gott, Mike Moore. There's the Wizard, Ozzie Smith, All-Star card. Willie Wilson, Pete O'Brien, and Kevin Bass. I'd love to hear from you, either in the comments or on Twitter, what you do with a lot of your common cards. I'm trying to decide what to do. Thought about some type of art project with my son. I've seen tables made, or with cards, common cards kind of in the table or on top of the table. There's a Bo Jackson. If Bo could have only stayed healthy or dedicated himself to baseball rather than football, I think he could have been a Hall of Famer. There is an Al Leiter card, and I think that may be, I don't know if it's a corrected error or uncorrected error, but I think the Al Leiter card has an error where it's not him. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's corrected, uncorrected, but there is the Tom Glavine rookie card. Definitely have this card in my collection, and if I was going to pull any card from this box, I think that would have been my pick. Teddy Higuera, Doug DeCinces, there's Goose Gossage, another Hall of Famer, Greg Caderet, Don Baylor. Maybe he held the distinction at least at one point. Maybe still does have the record for most hits by pitch. There is All-Star Matt Noakes, Dan Quisenberry, Andres Thomas, Don Schultz, Sean Hillegas. There's Tim Rott Raines. That is a Hall of Famer. Number 720, career 308 hitter at this point. I know he got caught up in some of the drug scandals, not necessarily PEDs, but I do think his numbers are worthy of the Hall of Fame. That's Kevin Bass on the left. Don't know who that is on the right. Maybe Billy Hatcher. Tim Raines, Ken Dixon. There's Roger Clemens. I remember that card from my childhood as well. I've got that card somewhere. There's Fred McGriff. I would say Fred McGriff is borderline Hall of Famer. Probably not quite there, but he was a rather prolific power hitter for a while. Pretty consistent power hitter. That looks like Kirk Gibson there. Alan Trammell probably. John Marzano. Jim Lindemann. B.J. Surhoff. Exposed leaders. It's probably Tim Raines there. Maybe Wallach. Tim Wallach? I don't know. Yeah, I bet that's Tim Raines and Tim Wallach. Dwayne Henry. Jim Traber. Damasco Garcia. Wearing his hat rather distinctly. Mark Eichhorn. Walt Terrell. There's Indians leaders. That is Joe Carter and I don't think that's Corey Snyder. Maybe that is Corey Snyder. No, it could be. I don't think it's Brett Butler. Pat Tabler, maybe. Brett Butler's not that tall. Joe Carter's kind of tall. And there is, that's cool. I'm so glad to get, I've got an both Andre Dawson cards here. That is the All-Star card. And you can see in 1987 was his MVP season, hit 49 home runs, or he led the league in RBIs as well with 137. Willie McGee, that's kind of surprising, 105 RBIs, top 5. Never really considered Willie McGee I considered him more of a front of the lineup kind of guy. Maybe scored a lot of runs, not necessarily a lot of RBIs, but Brad Arnsberg, George Frazier, Alfredo Griffin, Pat Keedy, Tom Foley, Marty Barrett, Dennis Rasmussen, Joe Boweaver, Jose Uribe. The Matt Williams rookie card looks very similar to this. It's maybe we'll get that. I'm pretty sure it's the same green background. See if we can find that. Mitch Williams, Wild Thing. There is a Mark McGwire Record Breakers. This is one of the Record Breakers. McGwire shatters rookie record for circuit blasts. Hit 49 home runs as a rookie. It was previously set by Wally Berger in 1930. And tied by Frank Robinson, Hall of Famer, in 1956. So Frank Robinson is good company. Jim Acker, Johnny Ray, Lee Guterman, and Vance Law. We're about halfway through our box here. Bill Allman, Tommy John. Obviously, Tommy John prolonged his career. What year there? 1975 would be the year he was probably had his, I guess, experimental surgery that later became known as Tommy John surgery. There is Mark McGwire, Topps All-Star rookie. Obviously, we just saw the record breaker, so if we're gonna have an All-Star rookie, I think that would be deserving. Bill Madlock. There's a Vince Coleman record breakers, probably stolen bases. Let's see, yep. Vincent Van Gogh steals 100 for a third consecutive season to set a major league record. The former mark of 2 consecutive seasons was set by Ricky Henderson. Oh, that's cool. Here is a Nolan Ryan. Turn back the clock. That looks like a 1983 Topps card. 5 years ago. Headlines were made Pine Tar incident, Georgia. So this is just a general card of what was going on 5 years ago, as opposed to anything specific to Nolan Ryan, who may have been mentioned on there. Matt Young. And there is a Roger Clemens base card. We got his All-Star card as well. Shane Mack. Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando, in the early 80s, he went 19-13. 1986 went 21-11, led the majors in wins that particular year. Led the league in strikeouts in 81. Led the majors, I should say. Fernando had some good seasons. Sammy Stewart, and there's a Bob Gibson 1968 card. I think that may have been his unbelievable season. I'm not sure exactly when his, yeah, I think it was. They basically had to lower the mound because of Bob Gibson. Robbie Thompson, Jeff Russell, Larry Herndon, Burt B. Home-Blyleven, Hall of Famer, John Franco, Ross Jones, Terry Leach, Dan Schatzeder, Larry Parrish, Jeff Stone, Sean Dunston, Dave Henderson, Jeff Musselman, Mark Davis, Joe Hesketh, there's a Willie Randolph All-Star card. Willie top 4 in on-base percentage with the Yankees. So. Luis Salazar, George Bell, but we'll see home runs on the back of this. No, game-winning RBIs, 5th with 16. Danny Tartable, Jose Carlton Fisk, out. That's interesting. Ron Guidry, Dale Moharcheek, I guess. I'm not sure how you say that. Nelson Liriano. There is a Kirby Puckett All-Star. Billy Hatcher. Mike Trujillo. Julio Franco. Bobby Witt. And Garth Eorg. So you can see we're getting quite a few good cards. I think hit rate on this maybe even higher than packs. You can definitely see there's some of those shavings. Dale Svim. There is a Ryan Sandberg card. Just kind of a classic card there. At bat. Shows his stance. Another one there, Andy Van Slyke. There's Joe Negro. His brother, Phil, Hall of Famer. Here he is with the Twins, where he would get caught doctoring the baseball with an emery board. Cecil Cooper, Frank White, Randy St. Clair, Jim Fregosi, Joel Skinner, Floyd Rayford, Danny Jackson, Alvin Davis, Rob Dernier, Marvell Wynn, Gary Lucas, Cecilio Guante, never heard of him, Larry Sheets, Greg Gross. Got those great 80s glasses there. Chris Spear, Ron Hassey, Mike Davis, Wally Ritchie, Ken Williams, future GM, I believe, Mark Ciardi, Barry Lyons, Roy Smalley, Gary Ward, Wes Gardner, Rod Booker, Roger Craig, Bruce Ruffin. There's Raffy. Still with the Cubs, Craig McReynolds. There's crazy Darren Dalton. Ed Correa. Bill Dolly. Pat Tabler. Tony Pena. John Moses. Terry Francona, future manager. Benny Santiago. Rich Gedman. Brian Holton. Doug Jones. Dave Bergman. A lot of mustaches still back in the 80s. Elia, Tony Fernandez, Jerry Reed. A little bit of a dry spell there. Not much going on with that set. All right, Juan Samuel, Brett Butler, Terry McGriff, Jesse Barfield, Gary Reedus, Johnny Ray, Jim Traber, Lloyd Mosby, Charlie O'Brien, Wayne Tollison, Dick Schofeld, Bill Madlock. Looking a little like Cecil Cooper, or Cecil Fielder there, but Tim Bergsass, Mike Boddicker, Oral Hershiser. Dodgers would win the World Series in '88 here. Roger Clemens, another Clemens base card. Shane Mack, Todd Benzinger, Andy Allenson. There's our first Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly is another collectible guy, even for Junk Wax era cards. His '84 Donruss card is still I'd say a classic card of the '80s. Bobby Bonilla. There's our first Darryl Strawberry card. Darryl Strawberry had a sweet swing, I think. Left-handed players usually do. Bill Buckner, Bill Schroeder, Ed Olwine, Reed Nichols, Dave Steve, Tony Bernazard, Kent Herbeck, Eddie Milner, Glenn Davis, Rick Sutcliffe. Sid Bream would go on to break the Pirates' hearts a few years later with one slide. Randy Myers and Ed Hearn. All right. So I would still like to get a Nolan Ryan base card. I don't think we've pulled that yet. We did get a Nolan Ryan turn back the clock card. George Brett card would be nice. Lee Lacy, Doug Treback. There's another Wade Boggs card. Kelly Downs, Bobby Thigpen. There's Jim Leland. Thad Bosley, Bob Rogers, Chuck Finley, Lynn Sakata, Chuck Krim, Chet Lemon, Eddie Whitson, Gary Pettis, Rick Manning, Joey Cora. How many home runs Joey Cora? He was, yeah, just a few. Definitely a light hitting infielder. Ed Lynch. There's Ellis Burks, rookie. John Davis, Tom Browning, Greg Booker, Eric King, Devon White, Gerald Young, Bill Landrum, Gino Petralli, Jack Lazorco, Bob Brower, Ruben Sierra, Pat Clements, Frank DiPino, Ozzie Guillen. There's another Tim Raines All-Star. Ken Dixon, again, Mike Lavalier, Jimmy Key, All-Star, and Dwight Evans. All right, we got two more handfuls, I think, here. So this is next to last batch of cards. Darren Dalton, Ed Correa, Bill Dolly, Pat Tabler, Tony Pena, John Moses, Terry Francona, Benito, Rich Gedman, Hal Lanier, manager, Doug Jones, Dave Bergman, Lee Aaliyah, Tony Fernandez, Jeff Reed, Ernie Riles, Kurt Stillwell, Ken Gerhardt, Jim Gantner, Tom Kelly, Rafael Belliard, Drew Hall, Steve Lyons, Tom Hinkie, Richard Dotson, Scott Sanderson, there's Mookie, Bob McClure, Dave Smith. Oh, that's a good card we haven't had yet. It's a Greg Maddux card. Obviously still with the Cubs. Carmen Castillo, Dave Meads, Chris Basio. There's another Hawk. Andre Dawson. Gary Matthews. Dan Petrie. Rafael Santana. And Ken Oberkfell. Alright, so this will be our last, this is the last batch here. Maybe we'll get lucky, get the Nolan Ryan that I'm missing. George Brett, Tom Niedenfuhr, Bobby B, Junior Noboa, yeah. Ron Oster, Billy Ripken, Bill Buckner. Man, look at that hair. Bill Schroeder, Steve Henderson, Tim Leary, there's Dwight Gooden. Got that card yet? Dwight Gooden, Tony Bernazard, Kent Herbeck, Eddie Milner, Bill Wegman, Rick Sutcliffe, Sid Breen, Randy Myers, Ed Hearn, Phil Lombardi, Ed Nunez, Andy Van Slyke, Joe Necro again, Gene Nelson, Cecil Cooper, Frank White, Randy St. Clair, Jim Fregosi, Joel Skinner, Floyd Rayford, Floyd Bannister, Alvin Davis, Bob Dernier, Marvell Wynn, Gary Lucas, Cecilio Guante, Larry Sheets, Greg Gross, Chris Spear, Ron Hassey, Mike Davis, Wally Ritchie, Ken Williams again, Mark Ciardi again, lots of dupes. Barry Lyons, Roy Smalley, Gary Ward, Wes Gardner, Rod Booker, Roger Craig, Bruce Ruffin, Rafael Palmeiro, and Craig McReynolds. So that does it for the 1988 vending box tops. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear them. Please like our video and subscribe if you have enjoyed and would like to see more Junk Wax era cards, or look at Dustin's videos as well for some of the modern cards. Follow us on Twitter at DC Ball Cards. And until next time, we'll see you.